through with it. They won't.
Welcome to Models Talk. Let's talk about it.
Yes, yes, yes. This is your girl Zahara Gihana saying yes. We are here today in Models Talk, y'all. This evening we have a beauty from Denver, Colorado, via Brooklyn, New York. What's up, lady? Hello, Miss Melody.
Hi, Sahara. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. You are fantabulous. I love you. You are a chameleon. We are hooked at the soul.
Yes, we are. As soon as I started doing my digging on you, I think I heard about you last year, actually, which is interesting because you've been modeling for 55 years, right?
Yes.
And I've been modeling for 20.
Mm-hmm.
So we both have our skin in the game here. And so I was researching and I was just like, this woman and I could be like sisters, like with,
Well, we're sisters, baby. I'll call you mine any day.
Yeah, it'd be a pleasure. It'd be an honor.
Oh, but thank you, my love. It's an honor having you, and I was looking forward to talking to you. And when Lewis Jones said you were coming on, I was like, yes,
Yeah.
somebody I can relate to with no problem whatsoever. Tell me about your fashion testimony, sweetheart. What you got to say?
So, I mean, I have never been one of those people that like didn't know what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
I think at like 5, I knew I wanted to be in fashion.
Me
And
too.
it was just, yeah, you're just like, well, obviously, right? Like you started working at 5, like, okay, child. I had to wait.
Mhm.
I grew up in a very religious household, extremely religious, like cult like style religion. And so I was not allowed to partake in any kind of fashion like play or fun. Like, it's very like women have to wear the long skirts and subservient to men and all that nonsense. So
Wow.
I left the day I turned 18. I got a massive tattoo on my back as like my signal that I'm not coming back. This is permanent.
That was your rebellion.
It was. And I went to fashion school. And I specifically chose to go to fashion school on the business end.
Mhm.
I went for fashion merchandising instead
Right.
of fashion design because I am an artist now. I realize that, but at the time I never saw myself that way. My family is extremely artistic. Most of my family members in my immediate family make a living as artists in their art forms, and I kind of came out of the closet as an artist about 3 years ago. So
Wow.
nobody knew I did any kind of art. But I went to school for fashion merchandising. I wanted to do trend forecasting. That was
Okay.
that was what I really wanted to do. But there's a whole science behind it. I was a mathlete. I'm a nerd, and so I loved it. And I was so into like the calculations of like, is it going to be a big accessories year if there's wars going on, lipsticks and belts, boom. And it's just like it's so interesting to me. But I worked my first job out of college was at Walmart. I joined them. I graduated in 2004, and
Me
they
too.
to come up with their response to Target's program of collaborating with designers. I
Mhm.
think Christian Siriano was like the first one or something.
Mhm.
And so Walmart wanted to do it. So they recruited a bunch of fashion students to join the marketing team and figure it out.
Mhm.
And 10 months later, we figured out that their audience was just not interested in paying extra for anything that had a designer label on it. So
Okay.
scrap that. So,
All right.
I mean, my professional journey has been really focused more on the marketing end, but I have always modeled on the side and had a really great career when I was living in New York. And
Right.
I've picked it up again since I've moved to Denver. But my day job has always been in marketing because I wanted to make enough money to buy fashion.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You got to be fashion forward, baby. Yes, yes.
Right.
You've got to make it move forward and keep it
Gotta make
moving
a
forward.
statement, as I am tonight, making my
Mhm.
statement.
Make
People
that statement, sweetheart. You look gorgeous.
will know
Love
that
the hair, love the
I'm out of
lips.
character. Like
Oh,
this
of
is
course.
not me.
Absolutely got to have a little something, something.
I'm usually like blinged out with like a lot of skin showing, but
Mhm.
I just felt like with this platform and this audience and the how close we are to voting day, make sure that everybody gets out there and takes their opportunity to use their voice.
Absolutely, I agree. I've already voted. I love voting early, and being part of that movement, early on.
Well,
Um,
you're in one of the states that matters. So
exactly, exactly. We've set records here in Georgia.
yes,
We've set records on early voting.
years ago I was in Georgia the weekend that they called it, and it
Oh,
was
wow. How
yep,
was that for you?
amazing, amazing. I was in tears. I mean, like just the first woman in the White House that was
Hmm.
of a
Oh,
melody. My friend, she's literally watching too. Like,
oh,
why-
good.
so,
Good, good. She'll probably chime in with some comments or something, and we'll be able to see that. That'd be
yes,
great.
she's awesome.
Okay. So, in your journey, what did you find is the hardest thing for you to do?
Um, like many, I have imposter syndrome. So anytime I have, any kind of accolade or recognition beyond just being cast,
Mm-hmm.
immediately, question it. Why me? Did I deserve this? Like, is this an accident? And that's been with my marketing career and in fashion.
Oh,
Um,
really?
physically, I'm 5'2",
Okay.
so I'm not your typical size person that is going to.
Mm-hmm.
And my weight's fluctuated a lot. I've
Mm-hmm.
been a size 14 and a size 0.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm about a 2 to 4. So
Mm-hmm.
those have definitely been obstacles. But as I get older, it's interesting because you don't think of this industry as something that would be accepting as you age.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those like Hollywood where they just kind of show you the door. But as you know, like if you have something to offer and you
Mm-hmm.
have a point of view and there's strength behind what you do, and you stand on your business, there's doors that open for you. So I've found more opportunity, although Denver is definitely a different market.
Well, we're going to talk about that. I would love to talk about your market and how you flex in your market. How does it work for you there in Denver?
It's a different industry. When I was in New York, I don't think I ever did a job that was unpaid. Like every, whether it was Fashion Week, and I did Brooklyn Fashion Week as well, Miami Swim Week. Like I went around and I was represented by agents, but there were times that I was independent. I've been independent fully since I've been in Denver. I haven't signed in the talks with somebody,
Mhm.
but I have found that there's few and far between paying jobs here. So you have to have your side hustle. They kind of more have the attitude of like you should be grateful for the opportunity to walk or get your picture taken.
It's
Like
not just in Denver, it's here too.
gratitude does not pay the bills.
No, it does not. And it doesn't advance you to get to the next level where you want to be. You know,
No,
you can
but
get trapped in the free zone, as I call it.
it happens. But I think, when you're creative, and thankfully I have this marketing, mind to fall back on where I am able to kind of negotiate those like brand opportunities or partnerships where I do get compensated, to a certain extent with the things that I do one-on-one with them, but they're not really related to the market that I'm in.
Do you come in with a contract?
I usually kind of negotiate as I go.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't have the representation, it's hard to kind of manage that. I'm not a legal mind by any
Okay.
means. I'm one of those people that recognizes my strengths and I don't try to do well at what I am not good at.
So you stay in your lane, in other
I
words.
do. I do.
You stay in your lane. What does your lane look like? Because my lane may look like your lane.
My lane is interesting. If somebody was to ask me what I do, I would say, first and foremost, I'm an artist. And that is, my passion. If I could do anything all day, every day, it's that. But I also love fashion. So modeling and styling is like absolutely right up there with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love styling, not just like photo shoots or things of that nature, but I love working with individuals. I have a lot of male clients
Mm-hmm.
because, God love them. I'm doing the Lord's work, I think. When I'm like,
Okay.
they know how to dress like for work and they know how to dress to like work out, but like that time
Mhm.
in between, they're like,
They have no clue.
especially in Denver. Oh my God, you can go to like a nice restaurant and they're wearing like Birkenstocks and Patagonia, and I'm like,
No way.
mm-hmm.
Like, let me take you and redo you.
Usually like being from New York, like I dress up. Like
Hmm.
my Nana taught me, like, you never want to be the most dressed on person in the room. So if you're overdressed, that's fine. You
Mhm.
underdressed, that's a problem. So I am frequently like kind of gawked at here, but that's okay. I don't mind. I'll
All
take
right, this is what I'm talking about. Let me tell you something, baby. One always has to stand out amongst the crowd. Why can't it be you?
That's right. There's a lot of backlash that can come with that, though. You know,
Yeah,
you have to have
but
thicker skin.
there you go. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Mhm.
You took it out my brain. See where you are, sister. Connected spirits.
We
You
are.
took it out my brain. Yes, we will get backlash, and I get backlash. I get all kinds of backlash. From ageism to sexism to the maturity level that I bring to the table. And personally, I'm just sitting at my table of life, enjoying the flavors being brought before me. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, I choose who can sit at my table. And if you bring your uniqueness to that table, you're always welcome.
Well, and isn't that so interesting? Like, that to me is why I love this industry, because it's all
Mhm.
about a new, fresh look. Like, there
That's
is,
right.
yeah, sure, there's like the Anna Wintour, like,
Mhm.
following, but there's always something fresh and new. And even if it's a flash in the pan, it's like, it just keeps things interesting. And I think it is unfortunate that, like, I've always been a connector.
Mhm.
Um, I love to network with people. I was the president of a women's group in New York for 5 years before I moved. That was all about women in media and women in tech and helping them develop professionally. And I think, coming here, especially in the fashion industry, there's a lot more like kind of like snark or competition that, like, I don't think should exist. It didn't really exist in New York. And
Mhm.
you kind of get there. And especially at my age, I'm like, we're not competing for the same thing. Like, you're 22 and 5'10". Like, we're no designers looking at us both and being like, oh, Melody or this one. It's like,
No.
you know, so there's no need to like knock each other or the talking behind each other's back or sabotage. Like,
Right.
you see that stuff and it's like, really?
Well, that's why Models Talk basically was created, because so much is talked about behind the scenes and the little cat back and forth, and they don't like the show, and the producer did this or didn't do that.
Mhm.
And that's one of the primary reasons Lewis Jones, my promoter and my creator of Models Talk, created Models Talk, is to give everybody a platform. Be it you're a director, you're a producer, you're a designer, you're a model, stagehand, what have you, give you a platform in order for you to be able to say those things without feeling judged, without feeling like you're going to be blackballed, and to say what you need to say because you need an outlet. Stop talking about it behind everybody's back. Let's talk about it in the open so we can make some changes. How about that?
Well, and I think, as I'm saying things, you're nodding along because it's not unique to just my area or just
No,
what I
it's not.
these problems are repetitive, and there's certain markets that are large, like, I would say like the New Yorks, the Chicagos, the LAs, where it's like so large, so much opportunity that really you don't see that as much
Mhm.
because the models are all about like, oh, here's a chance, here's a chance. But here I definitely have some amazing friends, of all ages and backgrounds, and they help each other out, whether they're a model, a designer, a stylist, but there's also the ones that like do straight up blacklist me. Had a conversation with me 5 years ago, decided they didn't like me, and so like that's it. And it's like that's so petty, like
Yeah,
it's just, like there's no reason for it, and there's
mhm.
no growth there.
Right.
If you're stuck on it, like go ahead. Like, I'll live in your head rent free. I really don't care.
I like that. I live in
Unbothered.
there rent free, and I
Mhm.
really don't care.
Very much unbothered.
I like that a lot. When you are modeling, and do you have access to? Do they bring you something to drink? Do they feed you? I mean, any kind of compensation behind the scene for you as model?
It depends. There's certain locations. There's a place here called Void Studios. I'd shout them out because the owner Ahmed is a fantastic man, and he always makes sure that when there's shoots or a show, that there's like, at least a case of waters and some like the little bags of chips, like something for us.
Mhm,
We'll
mhm.
get us pizzas at some point. But I have done shoots or shows where you're there like 16 hours and
Ooh,
you didn't bring it, you're stuck. Or you're on location, and so you've driven out to the mountains. Like here,
mhm,
it's like stuff in the mountains, and like once you get there, like there is no bathroom, there is no place to buy anything to eat or drink, and so if you didn't bring it with you, they usually are not like they'll tell
okay.
you straight up, like bring what you want, bring what you need, and so I do that, and where I have an issue with it is when they do not stick to the time. So it's like I brought what I needed because you said it was going to be from like 4 to 7.
Right.
Wait, if you go beyond 7 and now we're there till 9 o'clock, like now we're beyond what I said I needed. And
Mhm.
so people that have health issues or disabilities, like it's really, I think, you're kind of putting people at a disadvantage. But no, there's not a lot of that going on. Like I did a show on Saturday and there was a bar and there was like, I think past hors d'oeuvres, but like the models, it's like, don't feed the models.
Wow. What do you think why do you think the lack of what do you think is the lack of respect that we get? I mean, why are we so disrespected? What do you think?
Man, I have opinions. Um, I think it's a lot of just stereotypes.
Hmm.
It's the movies. It's, just like the jokes of like you're replaceable. Whereas it's, I've been on the other side doing the styling where I'm working really closely with the designer. I see the respect that they get.
Right.
And even if it's an unpaid show for them, and it's unpaid show for the models, unpaid for the photographers. The photographers are getting their clout because their watermarks going on everything. The
Hmm.
designers are getting their clout because their name is like, on the marquee. The models are just nameless, just
We're
walk.
hangers.
Yes. And the what you're there for often is, networking, getting to work with your friends and getting the photos. Of course there's a lot of monetary value behind a good portfolio. But I've been in shows where the designers will tell you you can't go out and take your photos like prior to, so you don't even get that. And you're like, the only reason why I'm here is to increase my portfolio. And it's not about like, taking somebody else's shine or trying to get fame. I mean, we're all in this because we want to be recognized as, good at what we do. And if we can be a leader, like I've been a leader since the day I was born. I've just always been somebody that like was that way. But it's not to somebody else's disadvantage. And it's certainly, you know, to me, I think the more that we can like kind of build each other up, it makes those times where you're just not getting what you need a little bit easier. I
Right.
try to bring extra for others and that sort of thing.
I do too. See, that's so funny. We are really kindred spirits
Hmm.
because I bring extra, and I'm known for bringing extra. I bring my chair, I bring my TV tray, I bring my makeup case. I bring extra. I have 20 pair of pantyhose in my model bag.
Like everybody knows that I
Yeah,
come. I do hair and makeup on the side, like for extra money. Everybody knows that I come and my kit is in the car. So anything you need,
exactly,
hair and makeup, I've got it. And anything, and I usually bring my stylist kit too, where it's usually like a trunk full of accessories, um,
exactly.
jewelry, belts, extra basics. And anybody that knows me knows that all they have to do is come up and ask. And I'm like, of course,
Well,
please.
I'm the same way. My biggest thing is I don't like an ugly show. Because the designers will forget their accessories. It happens all the time. I
It's an
normally have a lot of accessories. I end up accessorizing designers' garbs, and or making sure models have. I even bring extra undergarments,
that's
in
smart.
different sizes, so that
I
just
have lent out my strapless, like
yeah.
take it off, and I'm like, here you go.
Exactly. I mean, we're all friends, we're all models. If you can use it, here you go.
Yeah,
And I get teased about it a lot, but that's okay. I consider myself a consummate model. I'm always 30 to 45 minutes early. I'm always there prepared. I come in my all black. I do what I'm supposed to do and I keep it moving. I make sure that my garment before I walk out on that stage is correct. I check with my designer, I check with the backstage manager, and I walk that garment to death. And 2 weeks ago, every garment that I wore was sold, and it was fabulous. It made me feel so good and so
Like,
calm.
a notch in your belt. Like when you have that moment, you're like, I did my job, and you have a relationship then with a designer.
I did, and she's called me several times to come and walk for her. And every time I do walk for her, I sell at least 2 garments for her.
That
You know,
is fabulous.
and it's fabulous. And I love walking for design. Let me shout her out, Design Phase. I was just at an event for her, and we sold some garments, literally right off our back. Me and another young lady, Demetra Joe. She's a model.
Yeah.
And Design Phase, and Miss Tijuana is the owner of Design Phase and Galleria Mall in Cobb. So let me shout her out. She's a wonderful individual, and she was great to work with. And now she calls me all the time.
And it's so nice to have those relationships.
Hmm.
It's interesting because as a model, you do have to kind of be a chameleon, and you wear stuff sometimes you're like, I don't really like this, but you wear it and you wear it to death, like you said.
Exactly.
Like you make sure that the designer looks you over, the stylist looks you over, and you are what they want to represent, whether it's not what you would wear or
Yeah.
how you would wear it, doesn't matter,
But
right?
I
Like
think it's so disrespectful when a model tells a designer, I don't like that. I've seen it, I've heard it. It pissed
I
me
heard
off.
it Saturday.
I mean, how do you do that? You
Yeah,
don't do that. You know,
and it's
not there for
inappropriate.
that's your
It's
job.
a smack in the face. And right, your job is to show up, be the size that you gave them, when you gave them your measurements, like make sure that you're clean, you've got your hair, either washed or ready to be styled, whatever it is, if you're doing your own hair and makeup, and like wear whatever they have put you in, whether that you find out that day or you've known ahead of time. And it's just not about that. It's great when you find designers. Like there are certain designers that I work with here in Denver that I love their stuff, and
Hmm.
like I get so excited when I get to walk for them
I
or wear something of theirs because it is my style or it is something that I feel I can represent authentically. But there are times you have to wear something and you're just like, not super me, but like I'm
that's
still like get to be part of the show.
right, but it's not your job whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
It's just not. Your job is to sell and represent that garment to the best of your ability.
Yes. And to look good doing it.
And to look good in it and look good doing it, like you said.
Hmm.
I have one of my fabulous designers that I will walk for anything and everything. Her name is Vivian Dinks, and Dinkin Sith, but we call her B Dinks. And B Dinks, I will walk the world for her.
Yeah.
I will walk the world for Bobby Co Designs by Eye. Um, I will walk for Terry Stevens. There I will walk for Valerie Bowens. I mean, there are so many of them here that I don't care if I get paid or not with them.
Right.
That's how good they are, and they represent themselves well. You
Yes.
know, and they're not in any and everything all the time.
Hmm.
You're not seeing them every week. I mean, they give you something to wonder about, and that's why I respect them so much.
And they have a point of view. I
Absolutely,
find that
point of view.
so interesting. Like there's a designer here, Annabelle Jacobs, where I just love her stuff. And
Mhm,
the last collection that she did was very Bridgerton.
mhm,
You have a photo of me in that like kind of like wedding gown ish, and she let me style it how I wanted to. So I put all the pearls and like did my little Britney Spears moment. But
mhm.
I just think that when you wear something like that, like it is their art. I'm an artist, so I respect other artists, and it
Absolutely.
would be like me going into a gallery and being like, oh, this is crap. Like that's just not appropriate. You never do that because it's in the eye of the beholder, and we're all part of a collective community that in the end of the day is quite small.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, what I like to see the freshers. I like to see the new faces coming in. What I don't like is them not being thick-skinned enough to accept constructive criticism.
Hmm.
Because they not always come in and they're not always prepared. They haven't been to any classes, with a model coach. They haven't been to any photography shoots. that have helped train them in how to pose their bodies, and they haven't learned their angles,
Yeah.
for shoots. I get a little concerned because the first thing they want to say is, I'm a professional model.
Right. You're an Instagram model, honey.
Yes,
Different.
yes, ma'am.
I feel like my role in when I say this, not as considering my age, but like my experience, like I'm a senior model,
Mhm.
so when I come on, and I will admit, I know my flaws. I am late all the time to things, and like not just a little bit late, and it's a problem. I
Mhm.
accept that it is a flaw. I am working on it, but I come prepared. I come with a positive attitude, and I come with things to help out with everyone. And like you said, like I bring things to style a lot. I've had a lot of opportunity to style on the fly fashion shows that I'm in, because they do forget, like it's an afterthought often. But I'm from New York, and my that will you take the girl out of New York, but you never take New York out of the girl. Like I have a sense of urgency. I
Mhm.
move fast. I talk fast, and have recognized that, especially here in this market in Denver, it's not always appreciated or taken with the positive intent it is meant to be taken in.
Yes.
So if I give somebody feedback, or somebody asks me a question, I always direct, and I'm fast. And sometimes they take that as like a jab, but it's not. It's just that I'm not wasting anybody's time.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna like fill the void of silence with a bunch of like filler nonsense.
Right. Exactly.
Tell you what I think, and if there's
Mhm.
a problem, I'm going to say so. And if somebody has a problem with me, I respect if they come up and say, "Hey, this is not going well," or "I don't like when you do this." Great, thank you. Feedback, wonderful. I will fix it. I will work on it. Won't happen again, etc. But it's not always taken in that spirit. But I do think, when I see those girls, just like you're saying, and they come in at kind of every age where it's like they're brand new, they don't have any training, they don't know like kind of that like distance you need to keep from the designers, from the photographers, that like barrier.
Mhm.
Um, and I try to take them under my wing. Some of them are more receptive to it than others. Um,
Yes.
but I try to be there for them, any of them that want that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's fabulous that you're that way. I mean, like I said, we are honestly kindred spirits, and we will meet. We are going to meet.
I
We're going to
know.
make it happen. Even if we have to just fly halfway and meet each other there and do a show or something. Who knows?
Sure.
Who knows? What do you think the fashion industry's weakest link is right now?
Mm. Is in terms of like the players.
Yeah,
Or,
absolutely.
um, you know what? I stand on what I say, so I'm gonna say I said what I said. Um, it's the photographers, I think. Um, there's too many that can come pick up a camera and say they're a photographer, similar to the girls that
Yeah.
walk in a room and they're pretty, and so they say they're a model. And
Mhm.
there has to be training, and there has to be professionalism. And unfortunately, I've worked with a lot of photographers who don't have that. Um, and I think, with anybody within the chain, you know what it is? It's not a certain role. It's people without ethics. That is,
Ooh, say that again, baby. Say it
like,
again.
like there's too many people in this industry without ethics, whether they are a photographer taking advantage of somebody young, a model trying to edge out somebody else, a designer calling themselves a designer when they bought something and dyed it or cut the
Ha!
label out. And I'm just like, no, you're a
Yes.
stylist. I'm a stylist. I do that. I am a
Mm-hmm.
designer. Like it's a lack of ethics and the dishonesty for
Mm-hmm.
me. That I think is a major weak link, because we are an industry all about kind of that clout, attention. Like it's just naturally that way. And
Mm-hmm.
so people who don't have a strong moral compass will, find their way. And sometimes, unfortunately, they get a little bit ahead. But I think, it all kind of comes back and evens out in the end.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with everything you just said. I think I think producers are becoming a weak link as well, because they think that if they put on a show, they're always going to get quality models. That everybody's so thirsty to be in their show.
Mhm.
And that's not necessarily true all the time. You know, you if you're
Especially
not
the time of year when it's busy and there's a lot of stuff going on.
Mhm.
When I was in Brooklyn, like there would be like weekends where I had like 4 shoots and a show in one day, or like you have an evening show and then there's a night show, and you're like, sometimes you got to make tough choices, or you have to communicate with the producers of like, I can be there at this time, but I have to leave by this time, and it's not always honored.
No, and you're absolutely right. It isn't honored. And once again, it goes back to respecting the model,
Mhm.
and the lack thereof of respect for the model.
It is a
And taking
craft,
care of
just
the
like
model.
everybody else. Like we work on our craft. You
Mhm.
know, those of us who take it seriously, like we invest in ourselves. Like we train, we study, we give each other feedback.
Yes, we do. Look at that. That's beautiful.
That is Annabelle.
That is Annabelle. Okay. That's
Yes, she
beautiful.
is amazing. So this whole collection was Bridgerton themed, and it was a masquerade ball show. So there
Mhm.
was, I think, 3 or 4 designers, and they each had their own style that they took it as, but everybody was given the masquerade idea, and it was all Latin designers, which I loved.
Oh, fabulous.
It was
How that sounds very interesting. What do you see the differences between someone like a Latin designer and an American designer? What's the differences?
I don't think that there is a huge difference in our industry compared to others where it is male dominated and Caucasian dominated.
Hmm.
So I think that anybody that comes that, if you're a woman of color, LGBTQ, like there's always going to be a bit of struggle there. And I think that struggle when you're an artist is demonstrated through your art
Right.
in a beautiful way. So I think that they are naturally going to have a stronger point of view that they can communicate better
Mhm.
than somebody who just had it a little easier in life, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I do know. When you're out there doing your thing, what's the positives that you bring back home with you?
Um, the audience, I feed off their energy.
Yes.
I love finding like that little girl in the audience who's like looking up at me, and I have little girls be like Barbie, and I'm just like, oh, I love you. How much do I owe? Or like there's you get that magic moment with a photographer that you're vibing with, or it's that energy. And then there's a lot of designers out here who can't afford to pay you, but they'll gift you your outfit.
See,
um,
I'm talking
and
about.
that is always so appreciated. There's some that do it every time.
Hmm.
Um, Tina Silver, who's got Cougar Wear, and Missy Champlain from Champlain Couture, like they always gift their outfits. Whatever you wear, you get to take home with you. I just walked for SJS Designs. That's not a norm for him, but he did gift me my outfit and after walking for him on Saturday, and I was so grateful. And I actually wore part of it again on Sunday when I was in a photo shoot. I brought it with me because I was styling myself for that shoot. And so
That.
Jose Garcia, shout out to him. He had a shoot in Rhino, which is like the most Brooklyn part of Denver. So it's
Hmm.
my favorite neighborhood.
Hmm.
And we had a shoot, and so I brought part of the SJS Designs outfit.
Wonderful. I love it when you can take a designer's garment and make it more than what it was when you
And it can live on.
extended it. You know? Yeah, I love when you're able to. That's like Vinix. Vinix does haute couture, and I'm talking about when she does haute couture. She does these long fabulous capes that I
Mhm.
love to model. Huge.
I've seen you in them. I know what you're talking about because I've seen you in them, and I'm just like, oh. It's
Yes.
monochromatic, right? A lot of
Hmm.
monochromatic looks, and
Hmm.
I live for that because you have to be an impeccable tailor to pull that off. Like flawless design. You cannot be shit at your job if you're going
Absolutely.
to do a
And
monochromatic.
Vinix got that, baby. When I walk in
Mhm.
her garments, whoo, I feel a special kind of way. I got goose pimples right now.
Oh,
I
yes,
feel
you
a special
know when
kind of
you're
way.
just like, this is flawless. I'm wearing art.
Absolutely. And there you go. And that's exactly how I feel like I'm in a piece of art. Look at you there.
So this was a fun day. So this was one of these shows that I emceed. It was a contest for it was New Magazine, NUE Magazine. They hosted a Barbie core competition, and I was the host and MC. And this was the winner, and she just so happened to be wearing the same shoes that I was wearing.
That's funny.
Um, and
Yeah,
her
I
name
know
is
you were
Kayla.
you were on the cover of New Colorado magazine.
I have.
Yes, ma'am. Noticed. I
It
know.
is fabulous, and
Yeah.
I appreciate him very much. We have a very good relationship. I think what he does with the magazine is awesome. And there's so much opportunity out there. But Kayla's like one of the girls that
There.
Kayla's one of the people that I've had an opportunity to mentor, and I
Mhm.
mentor a few models of all ages, and taken her under my wing, and I brought her to things where she's actually been able to get paid. And her boyfriend is always like, "Oh my God, you're doing something in fashion that you're being paid for." She's like, "It's cause Melody."
Yeah. Well, my husband thinks it's a high cost hobby. He,
Hmm.
high price hobby. And I told him, I said, I mean, I've done my billboard. I've been investing in myself. Every time I do a show, I go buy, 10 pair of earrings because I didn't give them out, you know.
Yeah.
I always reinvest in myself. I did my billboards,
And our skincare, our daily upkeep is part of it, and
yeah,
it's expensive.
can be expensive, but unfortunately for me, I don't have a daily routine. You know what I use on my face? Vaseline.
Shut
Vaseline to take off my makeup, and that's it, and hot water. That's all. I don't
up.
do anything
You
else.
are blessed. I
Oh, thank you.
I
My
follow
mom,
those
my
like
mom, I did my
ridiculous
mom.
like Korean 12-step programs. Like in the morning. I've done tutorials. It's on my TikTok where I show people like what I do, like my morning skincare
Well,
routine.
you're,
And it's literally like 15 products and it's like a 12-minute long TikTok edited.
well, mine is just Vaseline. Take it on, wash my face with a hot towel,
Yeah.
and that's it. I don't do anything else.
I do that with coconut oil if I don't have olive oil.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I love using olive oil too because it really works good with my skin. I have psoriatic arthritis, and I get psoriasis from my top of my
Yeah.
head, to my
Yeah.
feet, and I have they blotch up real bad. But I'm taking Humira shots for that.
Is that working for you?
Yes, and it works very well.
Okay, that's good to know.
I get it twofold because it helps with the arthritis and it also helps with the skin. So
Oh,
I'm very fortunate. I have to take the shot every 2 weeks in my stomach.
well, that's a commitment.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's part of the regime, and I mean, I don't know if you've heard from my podcast. I talk about this all the time.
Mhm.
I take 40 pills in the morning and 10 at night
Yes,
because
that's incredible.
euthymiasis, and I have mixed bipolarism, and fibromyalgia and this, and this. I
Mhm.
am not my disease. I do not allow my disease to run my life. I am in control.
Mhm.
I've been in remission 3 years from lupus, and I've had a cololectomy. They taken out my entire colon, and so I'm on medication for that because I'm not a big eater. I'm not a foodie.
Yeah.
So, I have to take a lot of meds and I have to take a lot of vitamins. So I'm going to have a very heavy vitamin regimen. But by the grace of God, I'm still here. I'm able to walk. I'm able to talk. I'm able to move. And if it takes 50 pills a day for me to do that, that's what I'm going to do because I will be the oldest Black female model in the history of the industry. Period.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. I believe that. Like you have a
Wait a
drive
minute,
behind you that it's like there's no stopping you. So Naomi can go kick rocks because Zahara is just
honey, please. Please. I got shoes older than Naomi.
I'm dead. I'm deceased.
I
But
got shoes older than Naomi.
that's a good point. So thinking about like what you struggle with, I think that's a common misconception for people who are not only not in the industry but like not models.
Right.
They think like, oh well, you just like your makeup's a little messed up or you have a pimple, like they'll just airbrush it. Like that costs money. That is photographers' time and energy. Like they do not want you coming there with being like, oh, my hair's messed up, but you can just like fix it in post. Like, no, no,
Mm,
no, no, no,
no,
no, no.
no.
So if
That's
you have a skin condition, like you do have to do what you can to take care of it and like putting makeup over it or whatever it is, because you can't just rely on like Photoshop.
well, what's interesting with me, and I'm sorry I'm talking about myself so much, but what's interesting in my situation is I've learned to love my scars. I literally look like a cheetah. They are all over me from my head to my feet. And so I told my husband I wanted to get tattooed a cheetah, take go around each one and
Oh,
make
like
it
a little
a
like the cutest spots. I love that.
like a real spot. But he said, no, baby, you can't do that. And I said, okay. But I tell photographers and I tell designers that I have these scars, and I show them my scars in my legs, and on my arms, and the 2-tone or 3 tones I have on my arms. And I have been blessed by them, with them not caring that that's there. I mean, it's like the sisters that are modeling now with vitiligo. You,
Yes.
I mean,
Covered up.
no,
It's shown
it
what.
is who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been fortunate to be accepted as I am. And I think that's a wonderful way that the market has changed, our industry has changed, and it is becoming so acceptive of people who they coming from their real self and who they are.
What I've noticed just over the last 20 years, I'm interested in kind of your perspective of like if there was something that shifted or changed that moved in that direction, or if it was just slowly over time. Like I'm asked more now by designers about myself before they put me in something. That
Mm,
they want to know a little bit about me, or they like, will follow me already. So they kind of, I'm a loud mouth. I have a lot of opinions, and, extra on everything. So like they'll put me in something that's a little bit more avant-garde, or like, they were questioning whether or not somebody was going to be able to pull it off. And I appreciate that because I don't think that that was always happening. 15 years ago, that was not happening. You showed up, if you were cast, you were put in, you're number 7, you wear this, and that's it. And
right.
I think it's interesting and appreciated. I'm curious in your perspective over, 50 years, was there something that happened that moved the needle, or was it just slowly a move towards like appreciating people for who they were?
I think from my cultural experience is simply, well, let me back up. We did not have representation back in my day. And the only people that were representing was Beverly Johnson and Iman,
Mm-hmm.
okay, which are 2 icons for me. I really admire Iman. Oh, there was Grace Jones as well. She was
I was
modeling.
just gonna say, like Grace Jones, kind of like
Yeah, Grace Jones is up here for me. She's the one, for me, because I love her strength and her confidence and her ability
and
to,
her androgyny was
yeah,
like so unique and before its time.
yeah,
Like poor Bowie, it was like she just like rocked it and she did not care, and it was like
right. She
F
took
her
no
feelings.
prisoners, and people either accepted her as she was or they didn't, and she didn't deal with you.
Mhm.
That's what I admired most about her. What has changed for me in the last 5 decades, and looking at everything that's going on, the inclusivity, the mindset has been changed by the fact that, once again, going back to my own culture, that we fought to be recognized. I think
Earning grace.
Black Lives Matter movement started, you know the We Matter movement started. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And it fluxed in all aspects of the industry, and it said, you need more Black people in your shows, because guess what? Black and brown is becoming normalized.
Well,
And
it becomes obvious when there isn't. You know,
exactly,
if you go to a show and it's only Caucasian, you're like, what is this? This is boring.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not that we brought so much funk or so much life to the shows or what have you, but it's a better representation. And we spend a lot of money.
Hmm.
We do.
Yes.
We spend a lot of money as a culture, as a race of people. We spend a lot of money.
And there's swagger for days. So like why not tap into that like natural style? And like homogeny is so boring.
Tell me
So
about it.
like what, and even like coming in from tech and marketing, like there's, I call them manels. Like you go to like conferences and it's just like a bunch of dudes on stage and they'll be talking about like, DEI initiatives, and it's like, you're a bunch of white dudes talking about diversity. Shut up. It's
You
like this
can't
whole
talk
thing
about it. You
about,
don't know anything about being diverse. You
wow.
don't even have diversity on your panel.
Right. You're all wearing the same like plaid shirt, so shut up, Chad.
I understand. I understand. I think that's when the needle actually started moving and mobilization started,
Mhm.
and I'm happy. I'm elated. I'm I'm glad. I feel so good to see our confident sisters out there doing a damn thing, full figured or not.
Mhm.
When
Yes.
they start accepting full figured sisters and saying, we want you to be thick,
Yes.
baby.
Yes.
It was
Or
on
if you're naturally thin, like that, that's acceptable too, or if you have your natural hair or you wear a weave or like whatever it is, like I think, and it's not just, women of African American descent, it's also a lot of like Asian, of
yeah.
Asian being like the most massive representation of like I think population in the world. And I just watched the Hassan Minaj stand up special on Netflix, and he talks about the difference between
Mhm.
like calls it Bajistan and like the rest of Asia, and it's just I don't know. I think it's a beautiful thing, and when you are somebody who's traveled, I've traveled a lot,
Okay.
um, and I when you have that opportunity to see through another culture's eyes, and that not everything is, Americans are so narcissistic just in nature, like our way, or just like what is there another way? What do you mean? Like,
Exactly.
and
You
not
bet.
everybody wants to come to America. Not everybody wants to be American, shockingly. And when you get to go to those countries, going to Mumbai or Singapore or Paris or southern France, like you get to see such a unique cultural perspective, and appreciate people for their differences and stop trying to fit everybody into like your mold. And I think that's brands and designers have done a better job of expanding their line to not just like, oh, I'm going to be size inclusive, but like my designs are going to alter based off of your size so it fits you better, or it adjusts to something that is going to be more complementary.
Yes. Fabulously. I love the way you said that. And it's about damn time.
Hmm.
It's about
Yes.
damn time.
Too,
Um,
too.
the world is changing, and it has changed immensely, and we still got a long way to go. Yeah,
Yes.
it's sad, but it's true. We still have a way to go. And it's going to the changes affects all industries, you
Yeah.
know. But
But I
when
think fashion is a laggard, kind of uniquely enough because we set the tone for so much aesthetically.
you're
When it
Mhm.
comes to change, it like LVMH is like so far behind the times as a corporation, and even like the way journalists and buyers approach the industry, I think it's just like a bit behind the times compared to some other industries that have ticked up a bit faster.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, we need to start looking more towards other countries that are a little, like you said, a couple of ticks ahead of us,
Hmm.
and understanding where they're going and where they're trying to go, and not try to mimic what they're doing, but at least acknowledge what they're doing and where they are. I think it's hard for us to be behind the times.
Hmm. Yes, and I think everybody struggles with that like dichotomy of like wanting to leave your baggage, but like honor the past and like bring your traditions forward, and like where that separation is. And I think when you are somebody who is more aware of diversity and culture and just globalism,
Hmm.
right, and that not everybody does things the way you do or worships the way you do or works the way you do, it makes you um, you know you just have more acceptance and patience and appreciation for others.
What do you think our earning power should be as models?
That is a very good question. So my nana was a model in the 40s.
Love it. Yes, Nana.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes.
Nana.
Camille Gambino, and she is tatted on my arm.
Yes, look at
Wait,
Nana.
there we go. There we go. I have her.
All right.
Actually, one of the photos I sent you of her. This is like a line drawing of that. I wish I could like do it better, but there's this really cool picture of her with like a top hat and a cane, and so I got that tattooed
My
on me.
girl.
But she, I think, yes, 90. That was 6 months before she died, with her wig and her makeup and her, cheetah sequin Uggs.
I love Nana.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, on her deathbed, I was doing her makeup and painting her nails. And I think, she was paid for every job she did.
Mhm,
She did get a lot of catalog. She was in a circus. She rode
mhm,
elephants. She was a flight attendant back
mhm,
when that was like a glam job that you had to like look a certain way to do. But she never did a job that did not have compensation. Whereas now in our day, 80 years later, you would think we'd move forward. I think we've
tap-
regressed. And there's so much more opportunity and accessibility, I think, because of social media, that it is harder for us professionals
mhm.
to stand on like we deserve compensation, because there's always somebody who's willing to do it for like the likes, do it for the gram. um so that's a really tough question. I think what we deserve is, a percentage of what we sell. um, I think we deserve a percentage of the engagement. Like I always look at it from a marketing aspect. So if there's engagement, there's clicks, there's shares, there's comments, people are interested in what you're doing as a representative of that brand or designer, or through that photographer's lens, then you should be compensated on that, whether there's an hourly rate or not. I have an hourly rate,
Mhm.
but not all models do. And it's harder now to communicate that, because as a model, if you communicate your hourly rate, they think you're OnlyFans, and they're like, ah, okay, that hourly rate is to get nudes. And it's like, no, 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 no. Like, I am compensated as a model who wears clothes. Now, if
Mhm.
there's anything wrong, I have no problem with the sex industry. None. Those sex workers deserve all the respect in the world.
Do your
Um,
thing.
Absolutely, do your thing. And you know what? Everybody should be able to do what they do and love who they love, and take care of their body the way they want. That is my perspective. But I think it is harder as a model with the boom of OnlyFans and platforms like it to earn your compensation.
You look beautiful here. I love, love, love pearls. I'm a pearl girl,
Um,
and this is stunning.
and that was taken with my phone, my Google Pixel.
Oh, you did a great job with that. I love
Uh,
it.
I am fortunate to have gone to fashion school. A lot of my friends that became designers have gifted me things over the years, and that was one of the pieces. Megan Fabulous in LA, she made that for me,
Oh,
and
that's
so I
stunning.
love it.
That,
But I've gifted that, like that has been worn many times by men and women
mhm,
on a runway and in photo shoots. So um, I try to be generous with what I have, because I know I'm fortunate.
I understand that. And who is this?
Oh, that's Alex. Yeah, so the series I sent you, so that was actually the Denver Tattoo Convention.
Okay.
Had a fashion show randomly. We're walking for two different designers, clearly. But we were like, let's take prom photos. And he's somebody who, like, I've just found like there's a big age difference, but we have a connection mentally. And I've tried to, be there for him and
Mhm.
teach him about the lessons I've learned, but I also learn a lot from him too. His experience. I am LGBTQ. I am a woman of color, but I don't come off that way. I
Right.
can blend in a lot easier than somebody like him. And so I learn a lot from him in his experience and what he goes through.
Mm. Interesting. Very interesting. And who's this?
That is my mini me. So my 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 sister-in-law's baby girl. So that whole family looks like if Hitler could have like had a perfect race. They're all like blonde hair, blue eyes. The only one who has brown hair and brown eyes, and they're all boys except for her. And the boys will be like, "You guys look alike," and I'm like, "It's because you've never seen a brunette before, so you think we all." But she is my little mini. Like she wants me to paint her nails. She wants to go shopping. Like we'll be at lunch and she'll just like grab my purse and like hold my bag, and it's like the size of her. But she's like me. Like I was born a girl's girl. I, always been a girly girl. This is Vonnie. That was who was calling me on the phone. And I know she's
Oh,
one
you
right now.
tell her I'm gonna get her.
I'll meet you at Z's wedding. Z Limited is getting married tonight, and that is whose wedding we are attending, and that is Vonnie. She's the one who's going to Atlanta. She's going to be in the Breezy Swimwear fashion show this week.
Cool.
So she's flying to Atlanta. I was going to go there to support her and do some kind of behind the scenes like networking stuff and try to meet you in person for
Oh, that was great.
finally. But I unfortunately won't be joining her. But yes, I
Life
wish
is lifing.
all the luck in the world with that show. I know it's nerve-wracking to do swimwear. When I did Miami Swim Week, I wanted to die. And my friend Faye,
Why? Why
Faye,
did you want to die?
because so the way I got in was because my friend Faye, she owns my Valet Tans in
Mhm.
Miami, and she's franchised it out. I'm so proud of her. She built it from nothing, and she started doing a lot of models for Miami Swim Week.
Okay.
And I would hear them talk, and she would tell me stories. They all would apologize to her while she's spray tanning them. I'm so sorry for my stomach, my stretch marks, my this, my that. And she's like, you are literally the epitome of beauty. Like you are walking down the runway in swimwear. But yeah, like it's like when you realize women like that have insecurities, or when you hear like that Beyonce get cheated on, and you're like, what is, we just all have to just like love ourselves, because if somebody like that has an insecurity or an imperfect relationship, we
Mm.
all,
Well, it is what it is.
yes, yes.
Unfortunately. What are your final thoughts? What can you give me that we can give to up and comings or those that are existing, or older models?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm. I think two thoughts. One is to stop the nonsense with like being threatened by others.
mm-hmm.
Find love and joy in
Yeah,
somebody who's unique. And if you don't like what they represent, then just move on. Like
yeah.
there's no reason to try to sabotage somebody or try to knock them or talk about them. Like there's designers who talk about me. They met me one time 4 years ago and they didn't like me. And so they still blacklist me from like entire like fashion weeks. And it's just stop it. Stop the nonsense. There's room for everybody at the table. And we should all be lifting each other up and supporting one another, especially as models, because it's tough out there. There's predators out there. So look
Mm-hmm.
for one another, stop trying to take each other down. My other thought is, one of my favorite quotes is that you can be comfortable or outstanding. You cannot be both. And
Mm,
I live by that. So
mm,
I am often uncomfortable. I have severe anxiety, crippling anxiety. And I take daily medication for my anxiety and depression. And those who are close to me know how serious it can get. But I embrace those flaws because I know that I am different and I am unique. And I think that's why I've had the success I've had.
mm-hmm.
Also why I've had a lot of trials and tribulations that
Right.
I've but I think, those would be my two final thoughts. Stop the nonsense and figure out if you want to be comfortable or you want to stand out.
Well, my final thoughts is to give you model love, my sister. Thank you, my kindred
Thank you so
spirit.
much.
I really have enjoyed you, Melody. I think it's going to be awesome when we meet. Hopefully, you'll get to Atlanta, or I'll get to call, or once again, somewhere in between, when we
Somewhere in
walk
between.
doing a show together. You know, um, Baby, you got it going on.
You
Yeah,
too. And
yes,
anytime
yes,
you need
yes.
me for anything, I am
Oh,
there.
you
And
know,
that goes for anybody who's watching. If you are in this industry and you need something and you think I can help you or I can introduce you to somebody, please.
how do
I live for helping.
give me your Instagram?
The five that I have. So, my modeling and styling one is always go Glambino, and my TikTok is the Glambino. So you
Okay.
can reach out to me on either of those, and I am, just a message, a DM away, and same thing with my Facebook and LinkedIn. They're all there.
That's fine. That's fabulous. I really, really appreciate it. It was fun. And it's wonderful to know I got a kindred spirit.
You do, you do. You have a fan. You have a fan. I'll fangirl over you all day.
I love you.
And everybody remember to vote.
Oh,
Use your voice
always remember to vote. I've
and
already
vote.
done it, y'all. Vote.
Yes, please vote.
All right. You take care of yourself. This is your girl, Zahara Gihana, saying yes, yes, yes.